Cosplay. Definition: the practice of dressing up as a character from a film, book, or video game. But what if there was more to it than that? Let's go behind the costumes, behind the creative, behind the makeup. Within this community, there is a beacon of humanity that shines through. A beating heart of inspiration, freedom, and acceptance. It brings people together with no judgment, no agenda, and no prejudice. You can be whoever you want to be, and not be judged for who you are. Here you will hear the real-life stories of the cosplay community rarely ever heard. As we go behind the makeup.
And I mean, I've been wearing Ursula for about 6 years now, and every year I've managed to make her better and better and better. But I mean, when I first started, I had no confidence whatsoever. Now I'm just sass. It's brilliant. You come here, I recommend it for everyone. Everyone should do it at least once. Even if you don't cosplay, just get into the community. It's just, there's no words to describe how good it is.
The infamous Harley Quinn.
So, my name's Laura, I'm 21 years old, I'm a full-time music and education student and part-time teacher tutoring piano and trumpet. As a kid, I was always a bit nerdy. I loved Pokemon. Pokemon was my very, very first kind of obsession. And then from Pokemon, it was Harry Potter. And then from Harry Potter, it just kind of snowballed into all things geeky and fantastic. I was bullied as a child, and I would often turn to video games as my kind of escape. I have always loved dressing up, so that was my thing when I was a toddler, was to dress up as Simba from The Lion King, and I had my own like lair, Pride Rock and all of that. So I guess that kind of followed me through primary school, like dressing up as Hermione for book week, and high school, all the dress up parties. It's always been something I've loved doing. I've always known cosplay has been there. I've always known about Comic Con. It's just only been till this year have I found a character that I've been truly passionate about cosplaying, and also getting the time and the money, which is a big factor. So that has been a huge influence on my decision to cosplay now. Why Harley? So I chose Harley because I have always loved the character. Through the Batman animated series in particular, I loved watching that TV show when I was younger, and having Suicide Squad kind of bring to life Harley and Margot do such an amazing job just gave me that extra push I needed to cosplay her. I've always wanted to do an old school Harley cosplay, which I'll do in the future for sure, but having it come to life, I definitely just needed to do it, and I thought I could pull it off, so that's why I chose Harley.
Hey guys, so just did a little shoot with Batman near the river. And what did you think of it, Josh? I mean Batman.
My muscles hurt. I hate you.
The cosplay community in Australia is actually a lot bigger than I originally expected. There's barbecues here and there, and it's really, really lovely to see that anyone who cosplays in Australia is just warmly embraced. Everyone's friends with each other on Facebook. It's actually a small community, but it's a really strong community in Sydney. Everyone is so accepting and warm. There aren't really many people that make it difficult or uncomfortable. Everyone's accepting, and that's what I really like about the cosplay community. No one's bringing anyone down. It's always lifting each other up, and that's the beautiful thing about cosplay as well. Smile and wave, and group hug.
awesome. Thank you so much.
I've found it challenging to get out there and cosplay, especially because of the character I've chosen, Harley Quinn, is got quite a sexual outfit, I guess you could say. So having to get over that confidence barrier and wear something quite revealing and embody a character that is very, I don't know, she's a very controversial character because a lot of people don't ship abusive relationships, which is fair enough. So she is a victim of an abusive relationship with the Joker. So I guess dressing up as someone like that, a lot of people get confused thinking that I support abusive relationships, or that I normally wear very, very, very little clothing with fishnet stockings. So I guess that is a bit of a downfall to the character that I've chosen to cosplay very recently. Always have fun. Fun is the main thing about cosplay for me, and I think everyone should look at it that way. You have to enjoy what you do, and cosplay for me is something that I really enjoy and I have a lot of fun doing. My favorite thing about cosplay is meeting people and seeing their faces light up.
I'm here with Catwoman and Batgirl. Do you want to say hello?
It's so funny to think that a lot of people think that I look identical to Margot when I'm in my cosplay. So in a way, a lot of people feel like they're meeting the real deal, especially little children. I've had little kids run up to me. I've also had little kids run away from me because they were so scared. So I guess meeting the people is the best part about cosplay.
Cosplay is very good because it makes everyone happy. It's a very welcoming environment. And everyone just seems to enjoy it and love dressing up. And you see people looking up to you smiling because you're dressed up. It just makes everyone happy, doesn't it?
It's really good. It's my first time to a Comic Con thing, so we decided to do it as a couple, to make it a bit easier for us as well, really, as we go around with our photos together. Andrew's been to a few before, so he's like, right, come along now. So I've really enjoyed it. It's really good fun, and everyone's really, really friendly here.
Lee Nichols.
Hi, I'm Lee Nichols, and I got into cosplaying purely by chance. It was about 2 years ago. I was in my bathroom looking in my shaving mirror, and the sun was in my eyes, so I was squinting. And I thought, it's a bit Heisenbergish. So I grew the beard out and got some dye for it. Then about a month later, I was photographing a friend's wedding. I was just suited and booted, you know, no Heisenberg guys or nothing. And at the reception, some people wanted a selfie with me. I thought, hey, there's definitely something in this. So, you know, I'd seen the San Diego and New York Comic Cons on YouTube and in the papers, and I thought, okay, well, what have we got around here? So I did some Googling, I found there's quite a few in this country, MCM being the biggest one. So I thought, okay, I'll go to the October one. Bought the ticket and got there, and all the cosplayers, they really go to town, they work hard on their costumes. It's fantastic. So most of the day I'm actually being photographed almost as much, perhaps even more so than the photographs I'm taking of the cosplayers, which is great. So I thought, well, what can I do to take it even further? So I thought, okay, because when I first started I had just one pose. I got, you know, the standard basic black outfit basically. So what I did, I bought the yellow hazmat. Very effective, you know. Bloody hot in it, but well worth it, I think. Of course, that goes with the gas mask. These actually came in from the States. I had to get these from the States. Also, these glasses came from the States, and this jacket. Of course, these Clark's Wallabies you could get over here, but they're just fine. And a pair of chinos, lovely. So then I thought, what else could I do? Because I've invested time, I've invested money in this as well. So what else could I do? So I thought, the only thing I really could do is like become a lookalike, and the best place for that, obviously, is going to be Albuquerque, where Breaking Bad was filmed. So hopefully, I'm going to be, you know, Walter White Heisenberg in Albuquerque, which has got to be bloody cool. So fingers crossed, it's going to work.
As for the photo that shows Walter White at Java Joe's in downtown Albuquerque today, this went viral on social media. Well, we tracked down exactly who it was.
I went to Two Go's headquarters, or Java Joe's, took a selfie, and apparently somebody saw me there, took a photograph, and they put it on Facebook, and it's been all over the internet, wondering, is it Bryan Cranston? Is he going around as Heisenberg?
That is Mr. Nichols. It's his first visit to Albuquerque. He says once he heard about the book signing, he knew that he needed to stick around for it.
So, here I am back from Albuquerque. I had a great time over there. I sat in Walter's booth at Twister's, which was Los Pollos Hermanos. That's not where he meets Gus. That was a bit surreal, you know, because I sat exactly where Bryan Cranston sat playing Walter White. And so obviously people there are taking photographs and sitting opposite me, and what I did was I pretended to be selling them crystal meth and they're giving me the money. That was good fun. And also I got to meet Vince Gilligan, who made Breaking Bad. They were filming a scene from Better Call Saul. Also I did Patrick Fabian, who's in Better Call Saul, and he actually wanted a selfie with me. You know, that's bloody cool. Well, how cool can you get from that? So it's given me confidence, I think, to do other stuff. I'm not sure what yet. I'm going to go back to the Comic Cons, do the cosplaying, obviously, photographing the cosplayers. So it's, I don't know, hopefully this will bring me something that makes life a bit more interesting.
It's just such a friendly thing, it's fun to do, everyone gets together, it's like a big family. For me it's a way of expressing myself in a whole new way, and for me it's just great.
I think it boosts people's confidence because they can dress and be whoever they want to be, and generally in places like this no one judges you, everyone just is like, that's great, you look great, just like what you said.
Yeah.
Stephanie and Charlie.
Hi there, I'm Stephanie Norman and I've been cosplaying for 2 years. Growing up I wasn't the most popular kid. I did have my fair share of bullying in school. They made me feel isolated, they made me feel like I had no friends. But the good thing that came out of all that was my creativity. I actually did really well in one subject in school, which was my art. Because all the other subjects, either I didn't go to them or I didn't get the highest grades because I didn't feel like I wanted to be there. But with art, I felt comfortable. And in my art classes, I learned that all the stuff that was going on in my head, all the stuff that was going on around me, I could just forget about when I was drawing, when I was painting. And I just felt like I could really escape from it if I was drawing. And in that class you did have a few girls that were rude and horrible, but it was the first time in that whole day that I could sit there and ignore it, because I don't really care what they were thinking at that moment. I was just like, all I care about is what I'm doing here. A few years after school I got diagnosed with anxiety and depression. At the time I was scared. Like, when you get diagnosed it's frightening because you're scared to go there, you're scared what are they going to say. All this time I just think I'm going insane, I don't know what's wrong with me. But once you get a diagnosis, yes, it's hard hitting, it's so hard hitting. What got me through that was creativity and my artwork. And what I found with that was just that I could carry it on outside of school, that was my homing beacon, that was what was keeping me in check, really. That whole escapism that I had. With cosplaying, the first time I really did, like, the big con that I went to was 2015. And I was terrified because there's going to be crowds, everyone's going to be like rushing around, there's going to be grumpy people, rude people. But they weren't. Because as soon as I got there, as soon as I put my costume on, walked across the bridge, very cold bridge and scary bridge. I had no idea how lovely and amazing the con was, because everybody straight away was like, oh, you're so and so, or you're part of this. Like, even if they didn't completely get it, it was how lovely they were and approachable. With cosplaying, the first time was when I met my partner Charlie. I met him about 2.5 years ago, and he actually brought me to my first convention in May 2015, where we cosplayed as a cross between Assassin's Creed and DC characters, specifically the Arrow TV show, as the Green Arrow and the Huntress. Not only are me and Charlie cosplayers, but we also help each other through a lot of our lives. Like, we've built a strong relationship that's lasted, like I said, 2.5 years. And he's really helped me embrace my artwork, my creativity, and he's believing in me. It just helps me get through everything. I couldn't really imagine my life without him, because he has such a big influence on my life. It was May last year, we sort of ventured out a little bit, because we did Captain Hook and Red Riding Hood from Once Upon a Time. This was quite fun because Charlie hasn't really worn eye makeup before, so I got to put eyeliner and mascara on him, and he wasn't the most patient of students, but it was fun because we were doing something as a couple, and it was something that, I don't know what it was about that cosplay, but it made us feel really coupley. It made us feel really just in love.
I think my favourite thing about coming to cons has to be the idea that everyone is in the same environment and the same atmosphere, and they're coming here to get away from a lot of things. Some people have stress at work, some people have stress in school, or they might just not fit in, and at Comic Con everyone kind of fits in. Everyone has their own groups, their own kind of TV shows that they love, and they get to express their love for it, and no one can ever take that away from them. I think it's one of the best things about it.
Joker's Jollies.
Hi, my name is Keith, and I'm known as both Joker's Jollies on Instagram and also One Bad Day Cosplay on Facebook. Growing up, I was always super into Halloween. It was always a huge holiday for me. I was really into Nightmare Before Christmas growing up, so it was kind of hard not to associate that. And part of the reason I always liked it was the whole aspect of dressing up and getting to go and do the little parades in school and whatnot, stuff like that. And so I guess that was always a big part of Halloween for me, and the excitement of it anyway. I would say the first character, if I have to think back, that I ever really liked and had wanted to dress up as, I would say, is probably, ironically, another character who wears purple and green, and that would be Buzz Lightyear from the Toy Story films. When I was little, I used to be super into the movies, and I remember my mom used to work at the Disney store, and I had a costume that I used to like to wear around the house that was a Buzz Lightyear costume. And, well, I've been cosplaying since, like, probably, I would say 2012, and the first convention I went to was OhioCon. I never had dressed up for anything before, and I always had wanted to, and it just seemed like it would be a fun event to go to. So me and my girlfriend Courtney, we decided to go. We hobbled together some costumes, and mine, in fact, was a women's suit jacket that I took. It was a purple suit jacket that I took a skirt that went with it, cut it apart, and sewed it into tailcoats just so I would have an actual tailcoat. And we just grease paint, smeared that on, and sprayed the hair, called it good. And even though looking back at it now, we're like, oh God, what were we thinking? I just instantly was in love with it. It was fantastic. It was a stress relief. It was an opportunity to go somewhere and be something else. It was almost like you were a celebrity of sorts. You would go to this place and you'd have random people you've never met coming up to you and talking to you, asking for your photo. It's sort of like, it's nice. You go from being that kid who shuts himself in the basement and plays video games to going out and having all these people coming up to you and wanting to talk to you and wanting to take pictures with you like you were some celebrity, and they even kind of treat you like you are. They go, "Hey, Joker." They don't say, "Hey, Keith, random kid," or something like that. It's, "Hey, Joker," "Hey, Harley." They see you as the character. Being in the time I was in college, and as most people do, I did gain weight while I was in school, but my freshman 15 turned into the freshman 50, and it just kept going up and up and up, and as such it became harder to cosplay and feel more comfortable in a cosplay that as the Joker, where traditionally he's always been very tall and thin, and as I got heavier it was a little bit harder, and I started feeling more and more insecure. My costume and makeup was I would say getting better, but it was just I continually was gaining weight and was getting more and feeling more and more self-conscious about it. People started making nasty comments, not in person so much, but if a photo of me was shared online, you would get some people saying unnecessary comments, and as much as you try to turn a blind eye to that type of thing, it's hard to fully block that out. And I'm not going to sit here and say that the only reason I lost weight was due to cosplay. A lot of it was just, it's a personal issue that if you look at yourself in the mirror and you're not happy with what you see, it's very hard to go day to day and feel confident and happy when you don't like the person looking back at you in the mirror. My college graduation was coming up, and I didn't want to regret. I kind of was like I was sick of feeling the way I did about myself, so I decided to try to finally put an effort in to lose a little bit of weight before my graduation. One of those things that over time I noticed the weight started coming off more and more and more, and just watching what I was eating and everything, and that eventually I lost over 120 pounds due to my diet and whatnot. So then as I became more comfortable in my appearance, I noticed I think it reflected more like, just, I think even personality-wise, it made me feel better about myself. I wasn't as afraid to put myself out there as I was before. I would say that losing weight has made me a lot more confident in not only my day-to-day life, but in the cosplay aspect of it as well. That's one thing, I finally did the Killing Joke tourist outfit that he wears when he shoots Barbara, and that was a costume that, due to the nature of it being like the shorter shorts and having to wear white tights and whatnot for it, I wasn't overly confident ever doing that when I was heavier. But that's not to say, and this is the one thing that I want to stress to people, I know from experience, do not let other people tell you you can or cannot cosplay a certain character. You can't, it's not up to them, it's up to you. If it makes you happy and if you feel great going out as this character, if you love it and you're thrilled, and don't let people ruin your fun. Don't let people come and basically just take what you love and smash it to bits. I guess in closing, what I would say is, if I can inspire anyone based off of my weight loss or my costume or anything to basically work to better themselves, or just in general, if I can inspire anyone, I would be thrilled, because it's one of those things that, like I said, I know how it goes to not be happy with yourself, with your weight, to feel hopeless, like it's never going to change, or have people making comments about you or nasty things that don't need said. And it's one of those things that it's like, I feel if I could just help one person get over that, or just encourage them to maybe, for them to lose weight, or them to go out in a costume that they didn't feel comfortable in, then I would be happy if I could do something like that for anybody.
So cosplay, as far as everyone's concerned, it's just like a bit of fun. Just go for it. I mean, there's always going to be people who would prefer things to be accurate and so on and so forth, but it's easy to get into it if you just want to not be yourself for the day. It's amazing.
Ronald Seaman.
I grew up in New York, in Long Island, in a town called Glen Cove. I grew up in a loving family with my grandparents at the hub. I had a great childhood, bike riding, hiking, adventures in the woods with all my friends, going to the beach, all that kind of stuff kids do. We didn't have everything, but then again, we did. My parents split up when I was young, and although I wasn't the oldest, a lot was put on my shoulders because I was the most responsible. Sometimes I hated it, but it prepared me for things to come. I realized when I was young that I had a knack for making things. It was good figuring out how to do things. It kind of made up for the medical issues that I had. I spent a lot of time indoors because I had issues with my bones, which later on in life ended up healing. Okay, I married my sweetheart Barbara 31 years ago. She was actually my bodyguard when I was a DJ and a rapper way back in the days anyway. And she's been looking after me since then. She was there for me through my military stuff. We lived in Germany for a while, and early on in my career, our kids grew up there, and they all had to move around a lot, and we went from one place to another, from continent to continent. And she basically just stood by me and took care of the kids. When I was 27, I joined the United States Army. In the early part, I signed up for the National Guard for 2 years. After that, I was released to the regular Army, and I served for 25 years. While in the military, I got kind of banged up here and there. Also had some illnesses, also was exposed to some kind of things that gave me nerve damage issues. I've had surgeries on my right leg, both my shoulders, my right arm, my right hand. I have some discs that are banged up, messed up in my back, and I have a lot of nerve damage from something that I was exposed to. My son has suggested one time that since I was autistic as a child, it might be good for me to do some cosplay. And then finally I decided, let me look. One night I went on the internet and I looked up this cosplay thing. And I was amazed at what was being done, what people were making, how they were doing it, the level of expertise they had. And then I tried making it. After a while, about 2 weeks, I had my first Iron Man suit. Now, I have a niece. It turns out that she was a cosplayer. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know it existed. And when she found out, she bugged me about going to a con. And so I finally said, okay, I want to go. So my wife and her, and I met her and her boyfriend at the con. And I was hooked, never looked back. Okay. I work with a group called the Mutz Foundation, and the founder is a man called Zach Hurst. And Mutz stands for Makers United for Children's Hope. They raise money to get prosthetic limbs for children whose families can't afford them, and take care of hospital bills and just little things to make their life better. You know, help them get better wheelchairs. And this is one of the things that falls in line with the way I am anyway. I always want to try to give back because I believe everything happens to us for a reason. And if we have these good things happening, then we need to be doing something else with it, you know, other than just using it for accolades, you know. So I met Zach at a MegaCon, and this guy is amazing. I mean, he was putting his own money into all this stuff, and you know, between doing things to get donations and and what have you. We visit kids at Shriners hospitals. We do Toys for Tot parades. We go to the baseball stadium for Heroes Night to promote things like this. It's one of the things that it's been an amazing part of my life. I met a little boy who was in a Spider-Man costume. He's in a wheelchair, 2-year-old, but he loves Iron Man. And when he saw me in the Iron Merman there, he had to come to me, and he was reaching for my hand. Cosplay gave me my life back. It rehabilitated my hand. I had way better than physical therapy. My vertigo is at the point now where I have between 10 and 15 minutes that if I'm not actively engaged in something, it gets so bad I have to be put to bed and I can lose my whole day. It's getting better now, but before it was definitely, I went to bed, I didn't get better till the next day. I went to sleep, it was like a reset. If I'm not working on something, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm nervous because I know it's going to get to me and I can't recover. Can't tell up from down, left from right. It's kind of like being hit by a wave in a pool. Before this, once I got over being in hospitals and stuff all the time, I really didn't have a life. I can't drive anymore. I have to get my wife or my son to take me someplace if I need to go anyplace and do anything. So I can't do anything on my own. So I basically just had nothing to do if I wasn't going to doctor's appointments. Now I have something to do every day when I get up. I already know what my plans are, and it's the plans that I'm making my own. And this is what I do, and this is a medication for me, and I absolutely love it.
Best about Comic Con is that I find it brings the best out in you. You can express yourself in so many different characters, your strength, your dignity, and your intelligence. But it also brings out the creativity in you. What brought me closer to Comic Con was the amazing people I've met. I have met so many fantastic people, and now they're my best friends. Love it.
Harriet Megan Rogers.
My childhood was really fun and I really did enjoy it, and I believe that it has shaped the cosplayer I am today. I used to play a lot of sports. I was a tennis player and I used to sneak around 7.5 hours of tennis a week. I absolutely loved my arts and crafts at school. I did things like art GCSE and art BTEC at A level. A lot of people ask me this question as to why I chose cosplay. I think it was just the idea of making your own design and then actually building your own design. I love the idea of cosplay because it's just like, for me, spreading happiness. I want to spread happiness to others, and my spellcaster Tinkerbell is one of the best ways of doing that. Children absolutely love it. It makes them smile, it makes their day if they get to see Tinkerbell. People are absolutely shocked by all the detailing on it, and I absolutely love that. I love that people are smiling from it, and that's really why I chose cosplay, is to make other people smile, to make them see the love that I put in my costumes, for them to see something else that they love themselves but in a different manner. Part of my costuming is to have a complex design. I don't like building them complex, but I tend to build them complex, as you can see. I design, look at references, things that I want to combine. So here is my Davy Jones Ariel. This is just a coat. I have a corset and I have a shirt and leggings in a drawer, but this is the coat. And the design detail for the next part, my trident, is so elaborate that it's going to take quite a while, and it's also a completely new technique, so I'm learning things as I go. I have a brilliant boyfriend named Courtney. He is the one that will spend 2 hours 45 lacing up my Tinkerbell armour with me. He's the one that carries my bags, always has my water, some sweets, cooling spray, my business cards. If somebody takes a photo or if somebody asks me something and they say, oh, can I message you later, he'll be the one who's right there with a business card. And I couldn't do the things that I do without him. and he hopefully is being dragged into actually cosplaying me as a cosplay couple for the first time, so I'm really excited about that. The reason that I actually started cosplaying at conventions was in December of 2014 I contracted meningococcal septicemia strain W, which is one of the rarest strains of meningitis. I was only given 24 hours to live, and in the end, thankfully, I pulled through, but I did go on a very horrible and dark journey during that illness and after. I ended up actually being ill quite far away from home, and my parents would have to drive 2.5 hours every day to come and see me. Then my parents ended up staying with me for 4 or 5 days in the hospital, living in the hospital, to make sure that I was okay. My body has recovered to a point. Recovery tends to be 5 years. It'll be 2 years this year in December of 2016. I have become partially deaf in the right ear from it. I have gained asthma from it. I do not have the energy levels that I used to. So having to learn how to cope with the side effects and of having an illness while being a cosplayer can be incredibly hard. Not to mention, after my illness, I actually gained, I hate to say it like that, but I actually ended up developing depression and even more anxiety, worse than it was before. Now, my anxiety and depression was quite bad, and it centered mostly around death because of nearly dying myself, and then also having several deaths in the family. It used to be absolutely horrendous the first few months after my illness, because I always had in the back of my mind, you're going to get ill, you're going to get ill, you're going to die, you're going to get ill, and in the end, of course, I haven't got ill again and I haven't died. But it's the little evil monster that sits in your brain and tells you all these things. So being in a cosplay community is really good. We're like bumping everybody up, and being somebody who suffered depression, that can be really good, because feeling like you're alone when you're not alone is the worst feeling ever, and that is what I was having. And now, because I'm in a cosplay community, I can talk to someone, and a lot of them will just say, oh, if you're not feeling very well and you're a bit down, just tell me, and I will sit there and I'll talk to you. And even if it's talking to you about fish fingers or something, or a dog, or a costume, it helps in that way. So the cosplay community has actually helped me with my depression and anxiety and everything after my illness. A lot of people do say this, and I know how they feel. With my depression and anxiety, I didn't want to leave the house, I didn't really have anything to do, so I kind of started designing things, and after nearly dying I was like, oh right, that's it, Harry, you're going to cosplay at a Comic Con. I don't care, you could get weird stares from a lady on public transport, I don't care. At the end of the day, it is about you and doing what you want to do in life. People asking for photos, people asking who I am, seeing little kids' faces light up because they see Tinkerbell or they see the Mad Hatter, absolutely makes me happy to think that I'm also making them smile as well as making myself smile.
One thing that I've always said I think is wrong with society as a whole is if everyone just did what they wanted and dressed how they wanted and went day to day, I think we would all be a lot happier. I don't think it's one of those things that it's kind of sad that we have these self-imposed restrictions that we put on each other and ourselves of how we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to live. I just feel like it's one of those things that if we all did what we wanted or dressed how we wanted and stopped criticizing one another for it, we would all be a lot happier and better off as a society.
To anyone who's wanting to start cosplay, I'd say to them, don't be afraid of what you can do. Don't be afraid of putting on an outfit. Don't think that you can't do it, because you can. Just putting on an outfit, you can do that and have fun with it. Don't think it's a task. Don't think it's a job. Think it's a party where you get to be whoever I want to be. You can do it. Don't let anything hold you back. You can.
There's some outsiders, since they don't see what's going on. They see a bunch of people dressed up and they think this is crazy. They're a bunch of nuts. But they don't know what it's really about. It's about people expressing what they love, about the things that they love. That's the great thing about it. That's how you wish the rest of the world would be. Cosplay to me is the perfect world. And I like to do my best to keep it that way.
Cosplay. You can be whoever you want to be and not be judged for who you are.
Makeshift purebred that's been spoon-fed since on the assembly line. A brand new pupil to the old school of intelligent design. Fill in the spaces without traces of your phobias and doubts. Comments and judgments wrapped as values come cascading from your